The excitement in the third episode of This Is America, Charlie Brown is so infectious. This is the episode The Wright Brothers at Kitty Hawk, and as you can imagine, this details the first flight of the Wright brothers. And it really provided some food for thought. So the narrative setup is that Charlie Brown and Linus go to visit Linus's cousin Dolly. And Dolly is friends with characters called Peppermint, Patty, and Marcie. I say characters called because it's not the same relationship as usual. Charlie Brown and Linus don't know Peppermint, Patty, and Marcie until they meet in the episode, which threw me off for a second, but after, 30 seconds, I got used to it. Absolutely fine. And it's got a really great, kind of forced, but also great way of sharing information because Dolly has kept a diary of the Wright brothers' activities up until the point where this is set, and she reads out things from her diary, therefore delivering facts about things that the Wright brothers had tried and, their successes and the things that didn't go according to their plans up until that point, which I thought was a really good way of delivering information. It does seem blatant because she is literally just reading out facts, but actually I found it to be quite engaging. And then the bulk of the episode takes place on the beach, and we watch the Wright brothers. Something I've mentioned before, that ordinarily I don't like it in Charlie Brown cartoons when adult characters talk because it just detracts from the magic and whimsy of Charlie Brown. However, I loved the Wright brothers in this. I thought they were great characters. It didn't faze me at all that they were adults talking. I thought it worked really well. And they allowed Dolly and the rest of them to observe this. And we get to see them trying different things with the plane running on the track and then going into the air and the different attempts they made and how long it stayed in the air. And every time they beat their own record, they were so excited and enthusiastic, and that just felt so infectious. And there's a really interesting bit actually where I think it was Peppermint Patty showed the others a plane, well, their plane that they were working with in a shed, and Peppermint Patty was actually explaining the names of things like propellers, and it just occurred to me that at one point in time, things like propellers wouldn't have been common knowledge. Most people know what propellers are, but just to imagine a time when that wasn't a thing, and also to imagine that the Wright brothers thought people would one day be able to fly. Nowadays, again, that's common sense. It's, well, not common sense, but common knowledge. It's something that we, I guess, take for granted more than we should. But can you imagine, they must have been met with some skepticism. This wasn't really mentioned in this cartoon, but it just kind of made me think just how many challenges they would have faced, not just physical challenges of flying, but also from other people. And I found it to be really thought-provoking and gave me a really different perspective on the Wright brothers. I've read bits and pieces about the Wright brothers. I've seen various interpretations of the individuals and their attempts in various films, but this was the first time I really felt like I could see other people's perspectives and how they might approach this or feel about this, and it was just really different, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. In order to provide some information about what actually happens in this, at the end of the episode, the Wright brothers write down everything that had happened to give to Charlie Brown as a memento, in their words. And they basically read off, today we did this and this and this and this, and it basically lists the Wright brothers' achievements, which again is a really forced way of delivering information, but it worked. I thought it was fine. As with the previous two Charlie Browns, This Is America Charlie Browns, I have to take everything in this with a pinch of salt. My knowledge of the Wright brothers is still pretty basic, so I have to take everything here as correct. But if you know anything in this that's not quite accurate, please feel free to let me know. But I really thoroughly enjoyed this. The first episode, The Mayflower Voyagers, was brilliant. The second episode, Birth of the Constitution, had its moments but wasn't quite as good. But thankfully, things are back up to high quality with this one. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it and definitely recommend it.